I'm in danger.
Nope. He tried it.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
Just to quickly clarify, that replay was using a slightly different variant of the deck list you'll see in this video. I just thought it was way too funny not to put it in anyway. So it finally happened. I decided to stop avoiding absolutely every single pendulum card in the latest box, and actually stop to give one of them a go. And oh boy did this shit overperform. The card I decided to trial was Bujin Hiruko, who at a first glance doesn't exactly look like it does a whole lot. I mean, it's literally a normal monster. But I was actually amazed at how much of a difference this one normal monster makes to the archetype, and I'm surprised just how little attention this dude's been getting. When testing this deck, I was just dismantling everybody. Harpies, Magnets, Destiny Hero, DDD, some absolutely absurd Noble Knight combos. I was just pooping on all of them. And the final list I decided on ended up emphasizing this even more, by actually finishing completely undefeated. 10 wins, 0 losses. Actually nutty. So here's the deck list. Now before I get into the deck list, just a reminder that if you're enjoying any of the content you're watching or find any of it useful, to please show your support in the video by dropping a like down below and subscribing to the channel whilst you're down there. I've been making a fuck ton of new box content this week, and still plan to make quite a bit more, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the new stuff. Alright, so there have been a couple of changes to the standard Bujin list some of you might be familiar with the most notable change of course being the addition of Hiruko. This guy is a normal pendulum monster, with his pendulum effect being you can banish this card in your pendulum zone, then target one Bujin Xyz monster you control. Special summon from your extra deck one Bujin Xyz monster with a different name by using that target as Xyz material. The special summon is treated as an Xyz summon, and all Xyz materials attached to it also become Xyz materials on the summoned monster. So basically you can use this guy to swap out your Xyz monsters after they've used their effects for other Xyz monsters, which can lead to some pretty nasty combos as you'll see in the gameplay. It'll be way too hard for me to describe how useful it is here, so just wait till the gameplay commentary portion of the video for that one. To accompany this monster, we are also using a couple of copies of Unexpected Die. This card, as you probably know, when you have no monsters on board, can special summon any level 4 or lower normal monster straight from the deck, including our new boy. This just makes it easier to be able to Xyz summon on turn 1. The other pseudo new addition to the list is Archfiend Eccentric, which we are using in place of any Mystical Space Typhoons or Cosmic Cyclones. This is because on top of this card acting as backer removal as well as a bit of monster removal, this card is also a pendulum monster with a scale of 7. This means that when combined with Hiruko's scale of 3, you will occasionally utilise pendulum summoning in this list to make Xyz monsters, which I have an example of in the gameplay as well. As for the rest of the deck list, it's all your pretty standard Bujin stuff, so I'll cover them briefly as I go through them during the gameplay. Alright guys, that'll be it for the deck list part of the video. The rest of the video will be gameplay with commentary showcasing the list in action. Remember, if you're enjoying any of this content or find any of it useful, to please drop a like on the video down below and consider subscribing to the channel whilst you're down there. Enjoy the gameplay. Alright, let's get into it. So as you can see, this deck list went 10 wins and 0 losses on the ladder, which is obviously pretty damn good. And this wasn't easy matchups either. This was like Harpy players, we had Destiny Hero players, there were some Magnet players, and these are all top tier meta contenders. These aren't just free decks. We even had some random ass Noble Knight players. We had 2 Noble Knight games today that were just the Noble Knight player opening bonkers starts, as you will see, and we still play through them. It was insane. So I think this deck list is probably the most, or this Bujin archetype is probably the most underrated archetype I've seen in a while. I don't see anyone talking about this deck at all, and this new edition is pretty stacked. It's actually really strong. Alright, let's get into the gameplays. So the first one I'm going to show you is the only pendulum gameplay you'll see. This is the example of this deck can actually pendulum summon occasionally, and with a few of the other variants I did some pendulum summoning as well, but this is the best performing variant I've had, so this is the deck list that I'm showing. Alright, so I believe this guy was also playing Noble Knights. 28 cards, by the way. And still, 28 cards opens Merlin. I don't know if he's using... He's not, oh yeah, he's using Mythic Depths. No balance, just... opens Merlin. Of course he does. Of course he doesn't use balance. He can't anymore. Anyway. This guy's hand was just ridiculous. For a 28 card deck. I'm not sure if this is the Treacherous Trap Hole guide too. I think it was. Opens Merlin and Treacherous in opening hand. Of course you do. So, I just saw him search for... Well, I think he searched for another copy of the Trap card. So I assumed this card was this. So I was like, yeah, I can just play whatever I like. I don't need to destroy any back row. I can just use Eccentric as a Pendulum summon. So the scale 3, the scale 7. Summoning out all the cards I can in hand. Sadly, you can't summon this guy because he cannot be special summoned except for by his ability. Alright, I summon out Bujin Hiruko. Use his effect to search for Quilin. This is because I haven't used my normal summon yet, as you'll see in a bit. Then I'm going to use my Hiruko's effect to swap out for Amaterasu. You can then detach a material to bring back the banished card. The Treacherous at this point, which is kind of cringe, but thankfully, I actually haven't used my normal summon yet. So he's a little preemptive on that one. So banish a card to special summon my boy. Use my normal summon for the turn with Quilin, which will then go into the graveyard. Well, when I detach it, goes to the graveyard. Search for Crane, which is a hand trap. Gonna use my Eccentric to pop this card because I want it dead. If this card is removed, it means it won't be able to come back to the board in a second when we destroy it a second time, which is what we're gonna do with Quilin. In hindsight, I'm not really sure if it was a good idea to remove that twice, but I think it was. I'm not sure. I don't really play against Noble Knights that often, so I think it was the right play anyway. Either way, he summons out Big Dude. I forget his name. Archfiend? I have no idea how to pronounce that. Now this card can attack every one of my opponent's monsters once each. So because we got rid of the annoying card that protects him from destruction, it means we can destroy it, destroy this guy, and because this card special summons another monster, we can destroy that as well. Also, because we had Sinyou in the graveyard, I cannot pronounce any of these cards. Why can't they all just be named Crane? It's so much easier. Anyway, because we had this in the graveyard, it can be banished to... I'll just use the exact wording. You banish this card from your graveyard. That monster you control gains attack equal to the current attack of the opponent's monster it is battling until the end of the damage step. And if it does, all battle damage your opponent takes from that battle is halved. Alright. Meaning I could swing into any monster and it will just guaranteed die. Then we swing to the final ones. We activate Crane in hand, who just doubles the attack of my monster's original attack. Very important to note, it doubles the original attack. You'll see when that come up later on in the video. And now he's got nothing left. And somehow still, with nothing left, this man actually started to make a comeback. He's going to summon Yamato. He then summons a Dristan from deck to avoid being killed. And of course, the top deck of Madrot. Of course it is. Equips it with Gwen. And XC summons into the guy that's going to return all my shit to hand. But thankfully we top deck our Bujincarnation, which is basically only in the deck as a one copy of because it is an insane comeback card, especially with Destiny Draw. You can just search this card whenever you need it for a comeback. Otherwise, just don't run more than one copy of this. That's all you need it for. It's useless outside of being a comeback card, so... It basically brings back one of your banished guys and one card from your graveyard. So it's useless on turn 1 and 2 because you don't really have anything banished in the first place. And it can only be used with an empty board and when your opponent has a monster, I think, as well. Yeah. So we see summon into Uwu. Search for Hiruko. Quilin Poppy's monster, which then summons this guy back again. Thankfully he was intelligent enough to put an attack position. And we can just crane, double our attack, and yeah, he's dead to battle damage. Alright. Pretty insane replay, that one. Alright, game 2. Alright, so unexpected die, gotta be summoning our Hiruko. Yamato then being normal summon, so we can exceed summon into Uwu. Uwu searches for Hirume. By the way, you're gonna be using this combo a lot, so keep this in mind. If you get unexpected die and either one of these two cards in starting hand, you're gonna see this combo. Because this guy can then search for either of these two. So you exceed summon, search for one of these two depending on which one you're missing. Activate his pendulum, use its effect, swap this guy over from Amaterasu. Then banishing our Yamato to summon our Hirume. We can then use this guy's effect to bring back one of the cards banished. And exceed summon. So normally you would exceed summon now into another copy of Uwu or whatever else, but because we're against Harpies, we're going to be summoning the anti-Harpy card. We summon our Patriarch. And Patriarch goes to work in this matchup. So everything counts as having Harpy as a name, so we can just destroy... You know what Patriarch does by now, I made an entire video on it, I'm pretty sure. So Patriarch going to be destroying anything named Harpy, get that shit out of here. And now it has no more materials left. And this Harpy player I'm pretty sure got pretty lucky too. I think it was this one. Actually no it wasn't, never mind. Alright, and then so this guy during my turn allows me to bring back stuff from the from the banished zone into monster zone. So special summon stuff from the banished pile. But during the opponent's turn, it can add banished stuff back to hand. So we can add back the Yamato. Which is why we chose to banish this one specifically. Gonna swing in, he then uses Chalice. We're gonna then activate Crane to double our attack. And yeah, he's dead on board. Disgusting Harpy players, get him out of here. Alright, this was the replay you probably saw in the intro. Don't worry about that one. Yeah, I saved that replay later on when I realised, hey, that was actually a pretty funny moment. That might make a good intro. Come back and save that one real quick. Alright. Unexpected die, then we're going to be normal summoning the guy that we want to put in the graveyard, so it's a good idea to use these guys for Exceeds materials if you want them engraved. Turtle when engraved, you can banish it whenever your opponent targets one of your monsters to negate any targeting effect. So use the Exceeds material so we can detach it, and then we're also going to send... So this guy, his effect allows you to add any Bujin card to hand, or send any Bujin card to grave. So we're going to send our Sinyou to grave. Going to be searching for Hiruko, and I think we're doing the same move you would have seen in the last game, or similar to it. So Hiruko, swapping out Amaterasu. Use effect, special summon the monster, normal summon, so we can do another Exceed summon, go into Owo, and Phoenix Chained. Which we can negate with our turtle, but sadly we can't negate the Karma card, so... Goodbye. We're not too worried though, because unless he can remove this monster with some kind of card effect, he has to get through this boy and double Crane. Like, this card is effectively over 5,000 attack at all times. And I'm being called, not the time. Now you guys probably know my ringtone. Nice. Alright, Samurai Skull, going to be sending the Spectral Sword to grave. We're going to see summon into another Uwu. He then search for... Now I made a small misplay here, okay? So I banished, normal summon our monster. Now my plan is, if I hit him with anything with Crane, any of the other two monsters will be lethal from there, because I'll just do 2000 damage. He's literally just dead to any of the other two attacks. But I'm a yes clicker, so as soon as the yes prompt appeared on my screen, I activated this card. So, yeah, wouldn't have been lethal. I don't think he really knew that, or he just gave up anyway. But because this card, sadly, unlike Crane, it halves the battle damage you do to people. So I wanted to use Crane, so he gets the full battle damage. Either way, if his back row was useless, he would have died anyway. Alright, what are we up to? Steals. Alright, now's another ringtone in the background. These guys are really trying to ruin my recording right now. And you guys think I'm going to re-record this? Hell no. You guys can just deal with the background noise. Do you think this is a professional streamer right here? Professional YouTuber? Alright, unexpected die, summon Hiruko. Normal summon Turtle, go into Uwu. Uwu, search for Crane. Oh, sorry, Hirume. You saw this in the first combo, so I don't really need to explain it again. Amaterasu, special summon it back. Special summon Hirume. Then we're good to go. I think we had a Crane to hand. Yep, got a Crane in hand. So we've got Crane in hand, we've got Turtle in grave. We're pretty safe. Unless, of course, he gets a magnetic field. This card is really annoying, because it's non-target removal, basically. But on the bright side, it still takes battle damage when he swings into us, so if he decided to swing in, he'd take a fuck ton of damage from Crane. Decides instead to go into Gorgonic Guardian. He targets our monster to reduce its attack to 0 and negate its effect. Obviously we chain in response. Then tries to activate its effect again to destroy a monster on the board with 0 attack. We're going to negate that. We didn't really care about negating the first effect because we want this at 0 attack. It's a hella bait at 0 attack. Because like I said, this card doubles the original attack. And this dude's at 0, it would double the 2600, not the 0. Alright, Hiruko, he still stays tunes, so we don't get to use it. Sag wanted to swap this guy over, but doesn't matter because, like I said, Crane's effect, double the attack, and he's dead on board. Alright, I think we're what I'm up to. Must be this one. Yeah, if I sound a little bit more energetic in this video than normal, I was pretty damn hyped about this deck list, so I really wanted to get this video out. 10 wins in a row is not a... It's a pretty impressive feat. It's not a normal thing to get, so I really wanted to showcase this deck. Especially like before other people do, you know? Get the hype going. Alright, so this was Noble Knight player number 2. Of course, again, playing some above 20 card deck opens Madrot. These guys are just better at the game than me. What can I say? Everyone always opens the cards they want to. Although I think this guy was a little bit worse than the other guy, because I guess he doesn't have Merlin engraved, so you have to Exceed Summon. Because normally you don't really Exceed Summon on turn 1, you just leave it. Alright, this guy also has no back row, so good to know. Yamato can be searching Turtle, sending Turtle to grave, and passing the turn. So if you don't get to Exceed Summon on turn 1, generally you just want to set on a Yamato, because Yamato gets the end of turn, add a card to hand, send one to grave. So you can add a Turtle to hand, or you can add whatever the other one's called that you want in graveyard. Yeah. In this case, he tries to target my monster to destroy it, we've got Turtle. And because we have Crane in hand, we're safe from the attack. Unfortunately, Destiny will protect him, but at least our monster's still alive. Banish Crane, special summon. normal summon, Exceed summon into Uwu. Search for another Crane, and then once again, just like you saw earlier, Hiruko gonna be swapping over again. This time bringing back the Turtle. To go into Malevolent Sin, because this card, although it's immune to destruction with this dude, it's not immune to getting banished. And this will get rid of all of those cards, unless he activates the trap in response to bring a monster out. Then all those cards will go on that monster instead. But thankfully, since we detached Turtle, if he targets this guy, we can negate the effect, which the big brain man he is, decided to target the guy we can negate the effect for. Quilin, I'm going to destroy the card at the back. Fire formation, searching for Hiruko. Swapping out once again, going to another Uwu. So we can search for another Sinyou. And again, I'm a yes clicker here. So I'm pretty sure we had lethal if I just activated Crane here. I'm not going to do the maths, but double 2600 plus the 2400. He was guaranteed dead, I'm pretty sure. But I'm a yes clicker, so I click the fucking Sinyou instead. Halving the battle damage, and he gets to live a turn. So nearly through this game. Nearly. Of course he draws Merlin, of all things. In this case though, it didn't matter. So I'm pretty sure he forgot that this card only works on... yeah, I think he thought it had the dark effect on instead of the light one. So he just swings into my monster, takes some damage. I don't know what that was about. Then swings into a... oh well, seppuku's. Alright, final replay. I think this guy was also playing Magnets? This was a close ass game. Alright, summons Alpha. Alpha searching for his boss monster. We're going to be summoning this Eccentric. Eccentric to remove one of the back row. Unfortunately, hits a super team. This card just, when it's destroyed, brings back another one, so kind of wasted our time. Unexpected die, bringing out a Hiruko. No summoning Yamato. Cosmics are Tenki. Bit of a douche move. But we can still see summon, so. Anyway, searching another one. Allowing us to still swap over our monster for a Amaterasu. And continue with the combo we originally wanted to do. Now, normally we'd Exceed summon again, but at this point we actually have lethal on board, so we're going to try and go for lethal. But this dude had a Kite Roid. Because of course, he runs Kite Roid in his Magnet Warrior deck. During the end phase, search, and then discard. Very scary this one, because we don't have our anti-target engrave, and we don't have any cranes in hand, so our only protection is literally this. Thankfully he's at pretty low life points, so unless you can actually remove every monster on board, you can't really swing into it without risking just outright dying to lethal damage. I remember when I did this duel, I actually did a bit of math, because I was trying to count how many magnets he had engraved, and if he could actually use his boss monster to remove all three. So unless he had a card, we also knew which card he had in hand, so I was pretty sure he was one off at just about all moments. And I thought he was two off. But then he summoned his Guardian. Guardian can reduce to 0 and then destroy one, so that gets rid of one of the cards. Tries to destroy a monster, but then tries to go into battle, and yeah. Yamato can add Crane. During the end phase, of course. And he had no other plays to make, so he just passes the turn, and because we have Crane, he's just dead. Alright, so that's going to do it for the gameplays. If you enjoyed them, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. Honestly, this deck was drastically underrated, so I do recommend you guys give this deck a try. Even if you don't have like all the cards in it, do give it a try, it's really fun. It's like the only, I say pendulum deck, but I don't really enjoy pendulum cards that much, with the exception of this one. This was really fun to play. Alright guys, thank you guys for watching. Like I said, like, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. Catch you in the next one. Laters.
Hey, big brother, can I watch SpongeBob?
Shut up, Mokuba. I'm busy flagging YouTube videos to compensate for the fact that I have an extremely small penis.
Oh.